Hey, I'm Tom Tominari. I'm submitting this for AI integration challenge. So earlier this month, on March 2nd, I got this green card in my hand. Green card is a proof document that says I am a permanent resident, meaning that I'm not on temporary visa. So in the United States, I'm Japanese. My wife is an American, and then we got married last year. We filed for a green card in December, and just about 3 months, or less than 3 months, I got this in hand, which is insanely fast. Usually, for most people, it takes from 12 to 24 months or so to get this card, and so I got it very fast. That's the first thing. That's the first flex I have. And then I spent $3,055 to get this. And that's just a government filing fee that everybody has to pay anyways. Here's the thing. Most couple pay $5,000 to $8,000 on top of that just to get the same result. Why though? Because they hire an attorney. Attorney charges, around $5,000 to $8,000 on top of that. I did not. I did not hire an attorney. I just filed everything, and yet I provided enough evidence that got my case approved in just less than 3 months, when people wait easily 12 to 24 months. So here's the thing, when I was telling my friends that I'm just gonna file it by myself without an attorney, everybody was like, "You have to hire an attorney." But I was like, "Why?" Because this is just filling the forms, and then the government publishes all of these forms with the detailed instructions on it on their website for free. What your attorney does is just to fill out these forms with the information about you. So even if you hire an attorney, what they're going to do is just to ask you to give them your information, documents that you only know and you only have. And then they just go download those forms and then fill out those forms and then submit them. And that's it. And then they charge you $5,000, $8,000, and you're still doing the work for them. And it doesn't even get it processed faster. People sometimes think hiring an attorney speeds up the process. It doesn't. It involves a third party in the middle. It takes actually longer. I filed everything in a month. I had some friends who hired an attorney. It took 2 months because they had to communicate with the attorney and stuff. So that's the thing. However, though, of course, it wasn't like super easy for me. I still had to go through a bunch of, government documents and all the instructions. And on top of that, I sometimes had like specific questions. So for that case, I had to go through the Reddit threads and YouTube walkthroughs and forums and, but information exists. It's just, what's hard is the navigation and cross-checking all this information before submitting everything. So I thought I could solve this problem with AI. So I built Marriage GC Helper, an AI assistant that does navigation for you to fill out the form to apply for the marriage-based green card. This is an integration challenge, and I didn't build the whole product, but I got some mockups. So I'm just gonna show you how it works. So this is just a landing page. So I'm just gonna click Start Application. So the first thing is to understand your situation, it asks some questions, a bunch of stuff. But for the demo purpose, I'm just gonna skip this thing because it just asks the questions and then to understand your case. Once that's done, it's going to generate a document checklist. This is very helpful because I actually had to create one by myself, like using Notion and stuff. It was still pretty hard. And also, like, one key differentiator is that it's going to show you all the required documents that you have to submit, but also it lists all these highly recommended documents that are optional technically, but you should definitely file and submit to speed up your process. These are the documents that I had to do, and then that I had to do more research on, and to make sure if I need it, and then if I do, then how to fill out and stuff like that. So it's already done. AI just tells you what to do and what kind of stuff to do to get the process faster. So this is just kind of keeping track, everything. And when you actually fill out the form, it kind of walks you through, which form to, what information to put on each form field. And I know, like, I know I lived through it. I know that sometimes you get some specific questions when, about the form and input. And then you can ask questions here on the chat, and then AI is already always crawling through the internet, Reddit, YouTube videos, and government documents and everything, and it's gonna answer your specific questions with the links to the source, so you can just cross check it and then be confident. It's gonna save a lot of time. I spent at least like hours in like reading through the Reddit. And finally, it's going to review everything, hey, like how many documents you've done and then what documents you still need to do. This way, you won't forget about any documents and confidently submit everything. So yeah, that's how it works. Let me like talk about impact. So there are 276,000 marriage-based green cards are filed in the US every year. I didn't know this, it's so many. And then attorney fee run, 5,000 to 8,000 again, on top of the mandatory fee, right? So conservative target would be 5,000 users per year, which is like just under 2% of the whole market. And let's say at $5,000 saved per year or per user, that's going to be $25 million returned to families annually. And that's literally the floor, because I'm talking about 2%. But the real point isn't the money. A doctor or McDonald's employees go through the exact same immigration system. The doctor hires an attorney, the McDonald's employee guesses. This tool closes that gap. The information is public, the process isn't that hard. It's just intimidating. AI removes that intimidation. So I think this tool is going to save some money, but also help people. Thank you.